Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Ready to Love DMV, episode 3 entitled Party Crashers. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around and keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. Eric is excited about his first men's lounge meeting. He will get to speak about his first date and get the info from the other men how they feel so far about the ladies. Tommy welcomes everyone in and then jumps straight to business. 2 new singles will join again. 1 man, 1 woman, and they will crash the party. Demetrius says to production that the addition is surely confusing the current unclear connections. Tommy shares that the ladies collectively gave them pause when it comes to Wiley and his age. Therefore, he wants to introduce him to someone closer to his age. This week, the Power to Eliminate is back with the fellas. At the end of the week, they will report who they're digging and who isn't ready to love. Wiley gears up for his blind date and he's excited, yet anxious. Tina is a mother and an esthetician. Her last relationship was toxic and her ex cheated when she was 6 months pregnant. She decided to end the relationship and never looked back. Her daughter has changed her to look at love in different viewpoints in life and finding love. Wiley loves Tina's beauty and even jokes about how they even wore the same color green. They're already matching each other's style. They complement one another on sharing interests and staying healthy, in shape, and in the gym. Tina explains that she's ready to love. She has a daughter who's now 2, and unfortunately, her last relationship didn't work. They planned on developing a family together, and she never thought that she would be a single mom. Wiley says that he works with children and admires her transparency. Tina hopes that they can keep learning about each other, and he can be the Martin to her Gina. Her statement brings some laughs, which helps to break the ice in the room. They exchange numbers and are happy that they both had fun. Precious gears up for her blind date. It will be her first blind date ever. She's even heard horror stories of people who have had terrible blind dates, but she's excited and anxious. Donovan is a realtor from Los Angeles, California. He loves sports and grew up around a lot of women. He learned from his grandmother to always stay patient and kind. He says it's like the story of his life now, patiently waiting for his true love. Precious is very excited and loves his strong, masculine presence. She lets him know that he's very handsome and they already have some things in common. It's their first blind date. We learned that Donovan was married for 12 years and he admits that he made some mistakes. Now he knows what he wants. He wants an independent woman, but also to understand that they are a team. Precious is ready for love. She's been single for 9 years and celibate for 6 months. They share a little laugh and Precious says to production, "I'm really feeling Donovan, but maybe he's not picking up on my body language or something or catching what I'm throwing, but we'll see." Precious then asks him, how does he feel about sex before marriage? And he answers her by asking the question, do you buy a vehicle without test driving it first? She says no, and Donovan says that, that's something that I'm really interested in. He makes a note to production that Precious seems like a wild stallion and I'm not entertaining anyone. I just want to make sure that everything is based on true connection. Laverne sets up a date with Joy to make some pottery. He learned that it's something that she really enjoys doing. When Joy arrives, she is extremely happy because it proves that Laverne listens. She tells Laverne that in this journey, she wants a relationship that makes her happy, and he wants her to express what she feels makes her happy. To her, the happiness is a mate that's honest, shares unconditional love, laughs, and is a best friend. Laverne agrees that's exactly what he's looking for, and he wants a bond. Joy wants to know what's something about you that nobody else knows. He admits that he has a habit or maybe even a pattern of dating and not really letting down the wall, not being as guarded. He's learning to relax more and let things just flow. Joy says to production that she's very attracted to him and she loves his masculinity and how honest he is. She's seeing another side of him. Laverne says to production that Joy allows me to be more open. AP and Demetrius meet up and he feels their previous interactions have been void. Now it's their chance to see if their alone time will help them explore more of each other. Eliminations are this week and everyone needs to make sure that the options have been validated. AP says that unfortunately she hasn't had a true connection so far, but she's happy Demetrius asked her out. He wants to know if she's an affectionate person. He understands that she's a strong, independent person, but does she allow the softer side to show? She admits that after her husband passed away, it was difficult to trust or open up quickly. Physical touch and affection are actually her love languages. From Demetrius's body language, it reflects maybe AP still has that cold, harsh demeanor. Demetrius says to production that I like the fact that she's opening up more concerning her experiences, but unfortunately there's just not a romantic connection. Tommy has some things set up at an amazing beach house. So far it's only the fellas to get everything ready. Eric is excited to show his style and skills in the kitchen. He's the cook for everyone. Tory starts a conversation with the fellas about if they've ever sat down and reflected about how they viewed love as young men compared to now. Demetrius says yes, it's very difficult. The physical and sex held more importance. As of now, I understand cherishing quality time and someone's character is way more important. Tommy makes his entrance on a sailboat and he has a big surprise. It's not just a wonderful beach house, but there's go-go music. The energy is high. Now it's time for the ladies. They all admire the ladies' curves and looks as the ladies enjoy the melanin and the muscles. It's private beach house fun, and this is it. There will be no more additions to the cast. Now it's quality over quantity. It's time to reel into what your heart desires. Tina is ready to meet more guys. Tommy adds a special note that he wants the fellas to really focus because they have a special meeting later. DaKiya speaks with Eric and they appear to still be on the same page. They have their careers, but they want love. Paul is digging Tina and wants to know her a little bit more. He lets her know that he's very punctual when it comes to what he wants. He makes a note to production that there's a saying, the younger they are, the more trouble they are. But Tina has an old soul that makes her extra attractive. DaKiya keeps speaking with Eric in the kitchen and Eric is very direct that there are sparks between them. Carmen enters the room and it's obvious she has a purpose, to break up whatever vibe was happening in this room. She catches his attention very quickly. DaKiya says that she can't control the conversation anymore and then excuses herself. Eric says to production that he was actually hired by Carmen before on business and there was a little bit of attraction, but it was never explored. This new dynamic will allow them to see if they have something special for one another. He's very honest in telling Carmen that he has an interest in DaKiya and her as well. Tory spends some time with Ace and even drops some freestyle poetry, which she loves. Precious catches up with Paul and he mentions to production that Precious is clearly sexually amped and she should dial that back. Tory speaks with Sabrina and he wants to be with her alone. They flirt a lot and now it's time for some sweets. He gifts her with cupcakes and she loves it. She likes that he's more transparent than Demetrius. AP speaks with Eric and he mentions to production that AP seems emotionally still connected with her ex-husband. It's normal to speak about the past, but her energy seems as if she still has some struggles. Demetrius loves Precious's personality, but is she serious about what she says about relationships? Precious says to production that she loves being social and her large, bubbly personality can be mistaken and even make some men feel insecure. She refuses to live her life closed in. Demetrius says to production that she's fun when it comes to the drinks and partying, but can she pull back the layers when it comes to getting to know someone? Demetrius then grabs Sabrina. She's shocked that he grabbed her because he usually waits on her to speak to him. He admits to her that I needed to step it up and wanted to let her know that he's interested. He can really see them developing some sort of relationship. Sabrina says to production that she likes that Demetrius is stepping it up, but the chemistry between her and Tory is a little stronger, although it's good to see them both expressing their interest. The ladies notice that after small talk, Laverne seems a bit disconnected from everyone. Even Demetrius notices. Hey man, is everything okay? I noticed that you're kind of away from the party. But Laverne says that he's just enjoying the vibes and laying back. It's nothing serious. Cliff and Joy share some private time again, and their feelings are still the same, especially the sexual tension. Tommy pops in and it's time to have their discussion. It feels like a Debbie Downer, but this time and what they need to discuss is really important. The fellas need to update him on who they've been digging. Wiley is really digging Tina. They're closer in age and they had wonderful deep conversation. Paul is also digging Tina. She's young, but she has an old soul and she's attractive to older men. Eric says to DaKiya, she's gorgeous, she can hold a great conversation, and she's very chill. Donovan is also feeling DaKiya. She has a positive energy. It just circles around her, and I can appreciate that. Demetrius is feeling Sabrina. They've had to unwind and they realize that they have a really in-depth conversation and deep connection. Tory says Sabrina, and Demetrius makes a note to production that, okay, if this is a competition, clearly I'm the winner. Cliff says Carmen and Joy, and Laverne says Ace and Joy. Joy is me, high energy and balance. While Laverne is talking, Cliff looks at him strange and also makes a production note that I know Laverne didn't just say that she's me. Clearly, we are each other. She is me. Now it's time to talk about who they're not feeling. Donovan and Cliff agree that they're not feeling Precious. Paul says Sabrina. He asked her point blank period if you ever saw a connection between us, and she said that they're better off as friends. So there you have it. Laverne says Sabrina and DaKiya. There's just no romance there. Cliff and Eric agree AP. There's just no sparks. Now the hard part, elimination. Paul says to production that if it comes to me eliminating anyone ever again, you can just count me out. Tommy then gathers everyone together to make an announcement. He calls on Demetrius to share what the fellas discussed. He asks AP and Precious to step forward. Before he delivers any news, it's the end of the episode. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. I want to thank everybody for being patient as it aired on Friday and today is Tuesday, but I needed to take a break and woosah for myself. So let's get straight to it. Carmen, I like how you are putting your best foot forward and saying, hey, I have interest in this person too. Let me step on in and make my voice heard. Okay, that's very important. I understand that people make friends and all that good stuff, but this is a competition. This is about seeking after what you want, okay, and not necessarily being concerned about stepping on anybody's toes or hurting somebody's feelings, because we've seen in previous seasons where women have made that mistake. Well, I didn't talk to this guy because somebody else was talking to him. I said in seasons ago for H-Town, right, that Simone and Rashid were perfect for one another. And the reason why they hadn't actually had that chance to speak with each other is because you had the girls trying to be loyal to one another, and such and such is talking to such and such, or you know, certain things, and it's like, what are we, 8 years old? Stop it. You're on a show where you're ready to love, you're trying to be people, it's a competition, then you got to think about eliminations. Forget all of that, okay? There's no loyalty when it comes to a dating show, period. Demetrius, you seem a bit I don't know if you're boring. I don't know if you're lackluster, or I don't know if I believe the fact that you're ready to love and you haven't turned in your player's card. I don't know what it is. It's probably all of the above. Paul can go. Why is Paul still there? Huh? I like to be direct and I like to be forward. One moment you're talking about, I can tell that this a woman likes to be thugged out after 9 p.m. And now that you got somebody so far as Precious that flirts and speaks of things that are, little sexual hints here and there, you're like, oh, I think she needs to dial that back. What? Think about what you want, okay? Because I know what you're doing, what you did, okay, to whomever in the past. And that's why you got a little cock and thinking you can kind of pull the reins on women. That ain't how this works. So decide what you want. Precious has said many times, I have a big bubbly personality. Okay, I'm very social. I like to have fun. And people always want me to dial back or kind of dim my light on becoming social. And that's just not who I am. And she's always said throughout all of the episodes that can intimidate men. That can intimidate them and being comfortable in how I carry myself. I get it. Speak your mind, sis, and the rest will follow. Now, when we talk about Laverne, look, I told y'all several episodes ago, I think it was episode 1, that Laverne has a kind of like personality to where he expects people to come to him. He's displayed that. Remember in the first mixer, when he said he had this little area that he said it was his meeting area and women were coming up to him to speak with him. And I was like, if that were me, I wouldn't have went over there to speak to him. He wasn't even getting up to go and to talk to other women. He just stayed in his seat. And he was just like, oh, hey, women are coming to me to talk. That was their fault for setting the tone that's what it was. Because when it came to the pool party, he was expecting them to do the same thing. And nobody was paying him any attention. They noticed that he was kind of distant. Like, oh, man, we haven't noticed him really talking, or saying stuff like he usually does. Is he okay? And even Demetrius came up to him, out of concern. Like, are you all right? You okay? He's like, oh, no, I'm just admiring the energy and, the vibes and all this other stuff. You wasn't admiring nothing. You kind of had your ego probably crushed a little bit when nobody came, to you. I don't see why they would. But maybe your ego is pouring out and bubbling out over the pot and singeing the carpet at this point. I don't know. Laverne comes off to me as somebody that was maybe bullied, or maybe a guy that didn't get the girls growing up, or maybe wasn't, paid attention to a lot. And he got some muscles. He did some competitions. He got a little bit more attention. And then he was feeling himself. He's feeling himself. He's feeling his. Boy, calm down, okay? Give me some. AP girl, come on in, sit down. Let me get you some. What do you drink? Tea? Do you drink coffee? You want water with lemon? What do you want? Let me talk to you. You weren't ready for this process. You thought you were ready, but you weren't. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you were disconnected. You probably thought that you were being engaged and talking as probably more than you thought you were, but you did seem very disconnected from everybody else. It was like you kind of engaged in conversation when somebody talked to you, but it kind of like, when somebody's at a get together and they're there, but they're not there. That's what you were. You were there physically, but your mind was something else. I don't know if you were thinking about work or just thinking about your kids or whatever, but it gave off mom vibes. It gave off, I'm the professor and I'm watching the students trying to keep the crowds nice and calm. And then when she talked to people, she talked as if she was giving a lecture. She was like, well, I would blah, 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 blah. Right. Okay. Correct. And then I would blah, 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 blah. Right. Okay. Correct. It was like, no, don't do that. This is not a student hall. This is not somebody that you're speaking to. You're not in a classroom. What needs to be done is that before you got on the show, there should have been more socializing happening when it came to being around the opposite sex. You should have some starter-upper dates first and getting kind of into it. I mean, I can only imagine you were married, your husband passed away, you were married for a very long time, and then you're getting back into the dating world. I can only imagine how awkward that is and how much dating has changed, all the apps, how different it is when it comes to courting people. I can only imagine, but you needed to get your feet wet in that process. Like I said, once again, you gave off professor vibes, mom vibes, that you really didn't want to be there, that somebody called you like, hey girl, we're going bowling, you want to come? And you like, well, okay. You look like, you're being dragged there. The energy was very blah. It was like you needed to be kind of pepped up on like the latest looks. I'm not trying to sound mean, but the latest hairdos, the latest looks, you always had this vibe like you were there just going along with the going along. And Golden Girls wasn't on, Martin was off, Living Single reruns already went off, and girls called you and said, girl, can you come to the club? Can you come get you a drink? Listen, I'll use myself as an example, okay? I'm very triple C. I'm cool, calm, collected. But when I, loosen up and get to know somebody, I'm very goofy and I'm laid back and I have fun and I'm very social. I love to be social and talk. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't like to go to clubs. But so far as personality and speaking with people, I can do that. I'm real relaxed when it comes to that. If that's your personality, let that show. Let that, you do a lot of meetings. When we first met you, AP, on the episode before, you gave Zoom meetings and you encourage people and you light the fire with women who need that speech and empowering them. Instead of giving that, make sure that you bounce that and give that to yourself. As Iyanla would always say on her show, Iyanla Fix My Life, you should give, your cup should runneth over, okay? You give what comes out of your cup. You can't give from an empty cup. So your cup is real empty right now, my friend, and you need to fill that cup so you can show who you are. The fact that Demetrius says, are you affectionate? Because you giving off that vibe like you didn't want to be there. And then the fact that you said, oh yeah, I'm very affectionate and physical touch is my love language. He was like, really? Because you gave off the vibe like, if you even touch my hand, I'm going to punch you in your face. That's what you were giving. And you probably don't even realize that you're giving that out, but you are. I told y'all, okay, we're moving on from AP. AP, I love you, boo. But it's just, you need to transition out of that. You really don't seem like you were ready. You really didn't even know. It seemed like what you want to put on looked like you just threw on that half wig, child. And you threw on that one-piece dress that's really what you wear over your swimsuit, but you was wearing it as a dress. And you said, let me put on these sandals and meet him here to get this vegan sandwich. We're going to talk a little bit and I'm going to take my butt back home. That's the vibe you were giving. I love you, but that's the vibe you were giving. Okay, moving on. I told y'all that the Ready to Love production was going to stretch the heck out of this season. They were going to chop it up, do whatever they needed to do, remix it, chop, screw, whatever you want to say. That's what they're going to do this season, because they're splitting it up. For what? Why are we doing that? They're doing that because it's lackluster again, and they know that. The pandemic, I feel, had nothing to do with it. I mean, you have production changes all of the time, but they had options to slow down. They had options to get to know people for real. But I think it was the pressure and keeping the show relevant, keeping it on the network, keeping it, you have Discovery Plus, you have these people that's some heavy hitters with the money. It's just like, okay, you want this funding, you need to pop out another show. And they thought they would twist it a little bit by adding, people later, but that wouldn't work, because you're also limiting the amount of time that the newbies have to get to know everybody else, and it flows it off. I've been saying this over and over again. If you've been following me with the Ready to Love series, overall, I've always said they need to be in one mansion all of the time, microphones, cameras all over the place. They can date as many times as they want to. They can have rooms where they talk about their dates, and at the end of the week or at the end of the month or whatever the case may be, whoever doesn't get a good amount of votes, or whoever doesn't want them to stay there, they go home. I've said that forever, and I hope that they're listening and that they take my idea, because then it would be very entertaining. You really get to see the realness of people when you live with them. So if they're all kicking in and living with each other, that would be the best thing to do. Precious, I would only say my critique with Precious is, baby, honey, sit down, grab you some tea. You want some water with lemon? Girl, what you want? Okay, sit down. I need to talk to you. Precious, you cool. I like you. Me and you, we got a lot in common when it comes, you just want to get along with everybody. You just want to have a good time and all this other stuff. But in this situation, you got to dial it back a little bit. And let me tell you what's ruining it so far as the energy and why you so sexually amped, okay? You say you've been celibate and all this other stuff. You asking about sex before marriage and all this other stuff. That's cool. That's your choice. But when it comes to a situation like this and you're around all these sexy men, right? And they're just bringing in all them vibes, and now y'all outside and you can see everybody's muscles and everything, and the sun shining, and y'all got this view and everything. Sometimes when it comes to that, and sis, if before you going out on dates, you might want to relieve that stress, if you know what I'm talking about, before you leave the house. Because if you relieve of that stress, right, and you're not so sexually amped, when you get to the date, you chill and you don't come off as desperate. Do you understand what I'm talking about? You may need to do that. You may need to work on that, because the minute you get around a whole sausage party, y'all at the party and everybody got their swimsuits on and their swim trunks and all this other stuff, you flirting with everybody and you're like, what they gonna take for me? Take your shirt off. Hey, what you gonna do? Oh, let me smack your butt. Let me do your vagina, your vulva is overwhelmed and it comes off like you're gonna jump on the first thing smoking. Okay, so just chill and just take my advice on that. For the show, for the future, for anything. And if you're celibate, that's cool, but I wouldn't announce it to the world unless it's a conversation. Because then it comes off as, ooh, I haven't had sex in a very long time. I'm celibate. Is he gonna tempt me? Girl, come on now. Game recognized game, but keep that part to yourself, okay? Only if it's brought up. If it's brought up and you have somebody else that has that same interest in you, saving themselves before marriage, or also being celibate, that's when it comes up, and that's when you talk about it, because then it's just going to come off as desperate. Okay? And is this a seat? Is this a seat? Is this a chair? Is this a chair? It's going to come off like that. Okay. And I'm guessing that's probably what they're going to tell her next week. I don't know. Hopefully they send AP home, because, girl, I love you, but you put me to sleep. Especially when you was talking to Eric. Eric was so sweet. It was like, oh, you don't understand. We talk about the past and that's fine. And she lost her husband. Well, I think she's connected. Yeah, she's still connected. And that's something that she still needs to work on. Girl, I love you. Keep on teaching them classes. Do what you do, but make sure that you give a little sprinkle of that to yourself. Let me know what you thought about this episode and my recap. Make sure that you check out other shows. The Girl Before on HBO, the Mystery miniseries, check that out. Check out also Queens on ABC. Make sure to binge watch that playlist, which was pretty good, and so much more. There's so many other things that are happening in February, March, and April. Oh my God, this whole summer is going to be super busy. All these shows that I'm reviewing. In the meantime, in between time, binge watch, check out some of those links, because a lot of these shows are about to start in the next season, and if you're behind, you can binge watch. Until we meet again, make sure to take care of yourself and each other. Bye.